All right, let's get started. I did number all of these plays, and the first one is just a back judge mechanic. And what I want to bring up here is you can see that the offense in the dark jerseys here, they're lined up on this big line. Let's assume that that's probably the 40. And then there's another big line over here on the left, which is the 20. So the back judge is set up at 20 yards, which is fine. That's minimum, but that's fine. So just going to go ahead and play this through a little bit. And you can see it's a short pass and there's no deep threat. So in this case, the back judge is doing a good job of holding position. And because we started here and the play ends up somewhere 5-6 yards in advance of that, the back judge feels comfortable to come in and help spot the ball. You can see the referee still over here. That's fine. Because the ball was advanced and the back judge didn't get pressured back, that's fine for the back judge to come in and spot the ball. In fact, we would like them to do that in order to expedite things. All of our back judges that we have working this week, they're great athletes. So I think that they can handle that if we have this type of play. So just hats off to the back judge here for helping out with that. Play number 2, this is a back judge again. So let's I just want to make sure we set things up properly. So we are snapping just in front of a line to gain line. That always matters to us. From a standpoint of that, you can see the down box is second down. So we've got a short pass to the line of scrimmage. We're starting to get down to the line of gain. Excellent job right here for this official getting down to the line of gain. This one held back a little bit. It's only second down, so that's okay, particularly since the pass is right in front of this official. So that official may want to back out a little bit and then trail in advance. And then this play goes considerably upfield. You can see that this is approaching a 15-yard gain. Well, this is what we don't want to see on long gains. Whether they're pass runs or runs, we want to make sure that our back judges maintain their fade. And the fade is backing up, keeping everybody in your field of vision, and not letting anybody get behind you. I don't think anybody got behind him in this case, but I also don't think, had this runner broken all the way, that this back judge would have been in a good position. So as plays develop and as plays get longer, our back judges need to back up with that so that they can maintain a proper view of the field. And you can see there are some players behind him over here now. This is back judge working a punt. All right, so you can see players are running up. The ball's going to come down and land in here. Now, what we don't want is our back judges getting outside the goalposts. We want the back judges working the middle of the field. So once you get into a side zone, you're putting yourself at a little bit of a disadvantage. And additionally, even though players are moving up, we don't want our back judge moving up. If we back this up just a little bit, you can see the back judge is moving forward prior to the ball being possessed, and that's just a recipe for a lot of trouble. And you can see that's exactly what happens here. Now we got to start backing up. We're in a side zone, and we got players moving and running into our officials. So we don't want this. What we want is for our back judges to line up deep enough to maintain a cushion, to maintain a visual buffer so that they can accurately officiate what's going on the play. And what's really interesting about this, let me see if I can't back this up just a little bit. What's interesting about this is as the ball's on the ground, and even though the ball's on the ground, this player is entitled to pick it up. She controls it. So as she controls it, she tries to bring it up. And as she's bringing it up, still a live ball, the flags get pulled, but she loses control of the ball here. She loses complete control of the ball. So she's never possessed the ball. She's clearly kept it live, but she's never possessed it. So in essence, this is a live ball once she regains control, and advanceable. Now, I know this is very difficult to get live, but what would help is if we were in our proper position to see what was happening. So that's why we focus so much on our mechanics and making sure that we're in the right spot so that we have the best opportunity to provide the best judgment that we have available to us. If anybody has any questions as we go, please let me know. Okay, this is a back judge, and we're going to talk about line judge a little bit. You can see we're on B's 20. So line to gain is out. We're looking straight at goal line from here. That by the way was a clean pickup. We don't have any concern here. She got her hands at the ball at the same time, controls it, even though it touches the ground, doesn't make it dead because she controls it here, touches, and brings it up. Never lost control. Then we have a long pass, which here's our goal line, and here's what we're going to talk about with our back judges. If the pass is going to exceed the length of the goal line, meaning here or beyond, then just go ahead and keep going, because once you stop, number one, you'll never have a shot at this end line. And number two, you got a player crossing right in front of you that's going to obstruct things. And that just goes back to our back judge discussion of just a little bit ago, is we want to keep everyone in front of us, as long as possible. So since the ball is in the end zone, prefer that motion continue out here until you can get settled, and then watch the play from there. You won't have any obstructions to what's happening. The line judge comes down, stops at the goal line, which is great. And you can see that the players kind of crowd him there. So we don't want our wing officials this tight to the sideline when a goal line pylon area is involved. So as you come down in this environment, take your angle out here, get your 15-degree angle from the 10 or your 30-degree angle from the 5, and get out here where this guy is. And if you're here, then you don't have to worry about any type of collision. You'll have a good view of your sidelines, and you'll be in a much better position to officiate without having to worry about any type of collision.
Matt.
Yes.
What would you like our optimum viewing distance to be, or cushion to be, for the back judge or even our wing officials on plays toward their sideline or the goal line or end line?
It's going to vary depending on the play. Let's take this play for example. This is a play that goes 18 yards, so it's really hard to preload that distance, and especially since we do want to get down here to the goal line. If you can get out here, which is probably about 6 yards away, even if they're right here, that's about as far as you're going to get away. So in this case, it might be as tight as 6 yards, but ideally you want to be 10 to 12, or maybe even 14, depending on the situation. But you never want to be in a position where if the action comes right at you, you feel crowded. And in this instance, if you're right here and she's right here, the sideline becomes very difficult to officiate. So, but if you're back here, then it becomes easier to officiate. All righty. Play number 5. This is mechanics, back judge, pass fade. One thing I do want to point out here before we get into the mechanics aspect of it. Second quarter, 2-minute warning has been given. I can't overemphasize enough the importance of the 2-minute timing. Everybody should get on their radio and say, we are in regulation timing. And that should just flip the switch. So when we come in here and we have a long pass that falls incomplete and our clock continues to run, which it does here, I'm not sure when it's going to stop. We'll find out here in a minute. Okay, 142 is where it stopped. We snapped at the 2-minute warning, and that was maybe a 5 or 6 second play. So in effect, what we've done is we've lost 12% of our remaining game time on a clock error. So if we find ourselves in this situation and we know that we just had the 2-minute warning, just spitball it. Just get a hold of the timer and say, hey, the clock never stopped. Put it at 155 or 154 or whatever you think is appropriate. But don't let it sit at 142. That's taking something away that we should not do. The next thing I wanted to talk about on this play, get back here, is we talked about back judge mechanics, right? We want to keep everything in front of us. So the fact that we're here instead of this deep, but in the middle of the field, puts us out of position. So we do need to get ourselves into a retreat fade mode if we're working that back judge position.
That's the responsibility of all the officials, correct?
Sure, yeah. In this case, because the scoreboard is over here on the left, ideally the back judge would look at it, but the back judge was out of position on that play and looking, from inside to out instead of from back to forward. So didn't have a look at the clock. So everybody should have a sense for that. If it's incomplete, whoever's not involved in that play needs to take a quick look at the clock. And if it's running, jump on the radio and say, stop the clock, stop the clock, stop the clock. And if it needs to be reset, reset it. The 2-minute time is super important. All right, so this is, I don't know if this is a PAT or if this is just a first down play from the 3, but as we know, if we're in this situation, this is a goal line situation. At the snap, immediately we take the goal line. If we feel any pressure, which we already do on this side because we're on the right hash, because you're on the right hash and you know you're going to feel pressure, you're going to want to take that angle and maintain some distance. So this G, move it way back here so that you have room to get into this position. And you should be on your radio with your other official saying, this is a goal line mechanic, goal line mechanic. And we have those radios so that we can communicate with each other, just to remind each other that in these situations, we need to be in certain positions before they are. Even more pressure, right? Now we got motion into this area. Yeah, so we don't want to be here looking down. We want to be back here looking in. If you're looking down, you're not going to be able to see ball control. You're gonna jump over here at the feet. But if you're back here, you can see the whole thing open up to you. So I just want you guys and gals to be prepared for that. All right, play number 7. This is mechanics, line judge. And my comment here is get out of the wash. And I love the fact that we're enthusiastic and that we're moving downfield. But we do need to move with a purpose, and that means you must have a purpose before you move. So you got the runner here. In this situation, because the runner is pressuring you, and you've gone downfield a couple yards, that's fine. But when you see that pressure, just retreat. Use the back edge of your office or the restricted area, as is commonly called in the book, and get on that back line of that restricted area and just bide your time. Because we don't want you to just get into a position where you're now in the wash, right? You get 4 people here, you're right here. If this is a spot we need, the official on the other side can get that. They can be in that position because there's nobody there that's going to get in their way or cause confusion. So what we like you to do on those runs is just stay back a little bit. If your sideline is threatened and you're threatened by some of that action, just give yourself some space. This is a good example. We're looking at the down judge of making that exact adjustment. So the down judge takes a couple steps downfield. That is fine. Then he reads run on his side and he stops. That's exactly what you do. If you need to take those 2 yards, get back on this back line. That's why we have that area to work in. Go ahead and take that. But this official does a great job of recognizing there will be pressure, stopping, allowing the play to get by, and working it from the back in that 10 to 15 yard viewing area, which we talked about a little bit earlier. That was a nice job. I'm talking about a lot of mechanics stuff because this is what we need to do. This is mechanics, line judge. I just wrote in here, maintain some space. Don't run into your action. This would have been better served if you were pulling up around that white line, or maybe pulling up right here and giving yourself a pause, because the line judge is moving this way and players are moving this way. And that's just a recipe for a collision and for a bad view angle. So stop a little shorter if you feel like you're going to have some sideline pressure, and just get yourself a good stationary look at what's about to happen. This is a good example. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Real quick, Matt. Number 9, video number 9. Good mechanics for the referee. Need to advisable if they move up. You see her when she releases the ball.
Yeah.
Quarterback. She move up. Just take a look at that spot where make sure it's not beyond the neutral zone. Yeah. That's a good mechanic.
Good point. I mean, our box is up here, so that one's not even close. But I'm glad you brought that up, because the people who are operating the box in the state, they are officials. And if the officials have a question about whether or not the quarterback is over the line, go to the box person and say, was the quarterback over the line when she threw the ball? And just for clarification, that means every part of her body. Foot, arm, elbow, hair, everything has to be over the line for it to be a foul. And our box person is standing right there. They're in a great position to assist if the referee needs that, because we do move downfield pretty quick in this game. So if we do need the box person to assist on a quarterback over the line, or a forward backward pass if it's close to the line, feel free to go to the box person and use that information as you see fit. All right, number 10. So pressure, right? Pressure here. What did we talk about? We got pressure here. Back up. Get where this guy is in the pink shorts right here. Because look where we end up. Right? Now we're stuck. We can't see the sideline. We don't know who's doing what to who. Although it was a correct call for incomplete, so that was a nice job. Coming down the sideline. Let me see if I can't get just a little bit more view here. Yeah, you can see the little hop back there. We want to be where this guy is. This guy here in the shorts. So make sure that if you feel that pressure, just back up. Because if you back up, he's going to back up. And make sure that this area is clear. That's another reason why we need this restricted area to work, to keep ourselves safe, to keep our view angles open, so that we can provide the best product that the coaches are demanding. So give yourself an opportunity to make the best call by using those types of mechanics. I always like to bring these up because second quarter, 36 seconds. What does that tell us? We're time sensitive, right? So we are at third down. This is B's 20. So we're minding our 1 yard gap. We know that. So the line to gain is pretty important here. So both of our officials do a great job here. One of them leaves early. That's fine. If it's 3rd and 3 or 4th and 4 and you want to send one early, go ahead and do it. Go camp out. You can see the down judge move down as well at the snap. Great job. Now we have a catch here pretty close to the line. I'd say if she has control of it here, probably a first down. A little bit of a bobble. But what we don't see here is any urgency. And if we're in a time-sensitive situation, we need a ruling, get your ruling, show some urgency, go down. The referee does a great job. He doesn't care if he wants to put the nose on the line. He just knows they said it's a first down, so put the ball down. 6 inches is not going to matter. Do not waste time by saying, oh, move it back 6 inches. That's not important at this point. What's important is the clock. So we have a first down. They did a good job in their mechanics of getting there. Referee did a great job getting the ball put down, and away we go. This is an interesting end of this play because this was ruled incomplete. A little bit of a question there. I agree. It is incomplete just from a timing standpoint. She's not complaining about it. She understands football. Good. Ball's coming down and she elevates. So the girl in brown is off the ground completely. Control the ball. Coming back to the ground. Gets her feet down. And as soon as she does, she loses control of the ball. You see the ball just come down. That's a really good call of incomplete. We don't want to set our standard there as that's enough for a catch. Make them show control. Make them show that they've come down with control. And really love that call. Nothing we can do on the goal line here because we snapped at the 20. So what we would like to see in this situation, our back judge got pushed back. You can see our back judge here in the left. I don't like the fact that his back is this way. What it should have been a fade, face forward versus put your back to it. But the back judge may have a good look at this as well. But they're going to get pushed off this goal line. So if you see the pass is going to be tight to the goal line, you may try to work your way back so you can help out with the plane. But this is a very difficult play, snapping from the 20. So this is 2 plays in a row. And you can see that this is a 10-yard mark, by the way, the different color. So they're snapping with the tail on the 9. And here's what I don't like. You got a cameraman standing right where he wants to go if things come that way. So before this ever happens, you got to say, get off the goal line, please, relocate yourself, or get back to the track. So if he's down here, I don't mind. But if he's right here, that's our office. And you can see that the run goes that way. And if this official wanted to get goal line coverage, there's no way they could do it without crowding themselves. So this person has to go. This marker needs to move back so that you have space to get that 15 to 30 degree angle, depending on when you start it, so that you have space to see what's happening down here. Now the next play, this is the very next play, third down. You can see this guy relocated. So he probably told him, hey, you got to get out of my way. But we still got to move this thing back. And if you feel any pressure, and I'll tell you when you feel it, right now, as soon as this player starts coming at you, you take that same angle and get yourself some space. And that'll give you the best opportunity to make a call. All right, 13. This is a progress reach play. I love this ruling. You can see the reach. When was the flag pulled? These are very difficult because you kind of have to have a sense for when the flag is pulled, but the flag is pulled right now and the ball is already over. They did a nice job of giving him the reach. And anytime a runner reaches, generally the flag is not yet pulled because they expect that it will be pulled. So 9 times out of 10, you can give them the reach if their flag is pulled, whether it's at the goal line or in the middle of the field or the landing game. This is another progress play, and this one, we just need to find the flag. So you can see that this is the 20, the 10, so we're working toward the goal line. We have a catch. This is the 4-yard line, and here's our first impact play, which you see the short stretch, right? At the 3, and then the girl that pulled the flag, she's at the 1. So you just have to figure out who pulled the flag before you commit to your spot.
Oh.
So if you get fooled and you say, hey, this person pulled the flag, take a look at the runner and say pink flags. And then, as you get further into this play, you can see she still has 2 pink flags. And at this point, she's reaching the ball back. This may have even been a score. So we've got a couple of officials down here that can help. One is, hey, flag wasn't pulled until the 1. Let's adjust this spot. It was eventually spotted at the 3. So it's just a reminder that we need to work together. Just because somebody says I have the flag pulled here, if she's not holding the pink flag, then it's okay for you to question that. Or anybody who sees that to question that.
And Matt, do you want a flag for defensive holding?
On that, no, it didn't pull her back, just stretched her shorts. So you gotta have an actual restriction. That just a stretch is not a restriction. It has to be a visible that stretch did something. So just a stretch and pop is not a hold. All right, so this one, at the snap, there was a call for encroachment on the defense. So you can see that, where we are here. I don't like this call. I know how it happened, but we're going to go over that in just a second. So you can see there was no movement here. And this is the person who was called for encroachment. Let's just say it was a correct call for now. We come in and give this signal. We got to point one way or the other, because you're not just talking to the referee, you're talking to everybody when you give physical signals. So once you signal encroachment, give a directional. There's no directional there. Now he knew it, but the physical signal is not just for him. Okay, so do we think we have a problem right now? Probably not. And we have a snap and everybody's stationary. So just be careful. If you think they're in, get them before the snap so that it doesn't look like this, because they were standing here for quite a while, and then that call came in at the snap. So we don't like that look. And we also want a directional.
Yeah, Matt, I wanted to ask you a question on that. From what I could see, I mean, it is a bad angle, actually. So it looks kind of Kapakai, but that defensive player was encroaching or was offsides, but never rushed. So basically had no effect on the play.
Yeah, we don't play that. We're not going to play that. If they're in the zone, it's a foul right then.
Okay.
And I didn't know, it didn't appear they were in the zone. If they were, you would have thought that you would have seen some verbal requests from the official on that side to move back. And in the lack of any of that, it's not a good look.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. This is a simple 5. A simple 5 is a foul prior to the snap. So, and this one was a great call, because you can see that the defender with the pink right here, she's moving forward before the snap. Right there, she's in. And because she's in, that's a foul right then. And you can see the snap is starting. So this is a good call. Again, when you have an encroachment, give the signal, give a direction. Don't see a direction here. Because we don't have a direction, now the referee has to go over there. If the referee has to go over there, this now is not a timely penalty. This is an extended penalty. And we don't want to take a minute off the clock for a pre-snap foul. So timers, make your adjustment, referees make your adjustment. But what we would prefer to see here is, if this guy's got encroachment on the defense, come in, give the signal, give the direction, referee, turn around, make the signal, keep coming, pick up the ball and mark it off. or back judge come in, pick up the ball, and mark it off, so that when he's done with his announcement, we're ready to go. Yeah.
If you take a notice, it's 1st and 2. And this
Yeah.
is something that Moanalua does intentionally. So we do have to take a moment, process what's going on, and make sure we give that team the option.
Yeah, so in this play, I had to ask the other team if they wanted to accept the penalty, because in flag generally teams will decline
Got
that.
it. No, good point. Good point. Were you talking to the coach on the Nanakuli side there?
I yelled.
Okay. Okay. All right. So in that case, if we've got and let's just further explain what Mitchell brought up. Excellent point. If we've got a situation where it's 1st down and Moanaloa wants to put them over the line to make it 1st and 18, versus if they run a play and maybe get it out to here where it would be 1st and 10. So that's Moanaloa's plan to take advantage of the 1st down distance. So if we're aware of that and we have an encroachment and we give the signal, this official can just hold his hand up and turn around to this coach and say, do you want to take that distance? And communicate that in. We do have radios. So we don't even need our referee to do that. We can have this official over here do that. That's a great point, Mitchell. Thanks for bringing it up. And we can still have our back judge come in if they decide to accept it and mark it off. All right, 17. This is a delay of game. Let's take notice of score and time. 4th quarter, 3:31. Moanaloa is up. They're trying to exhaust the clock. Just a normal play. And our flag gets pulled. Where's our flag get pulled? Right there. So our flag gets pulled there. Now there is a natural time for us to go ahead and keep monitoring the play. So by the time we get down to about 3:10, this is when our 40 is going to start. Unless we're just really super on it, with a no-look click stopwatch. So if this is our start, 3:10 of our 40-second clock, what time does their 40-second clock expire?
2:30.
2:30?
2:30. Right. Let's do the math. So if we do the math, we should know exactly when to tick this off. We should know exactly what to tell them as far as the game clock is concerned about when they need to get that snap off. They're in no rush because all they want to do is exhaust the clock. And they're going to take it, and they're going to take it, and they're going to take it until you prevent them from taking it. All right, so that was our stopping point right there. So 23 is the snap. So they're 7 seconds late. But we called the delay. Hold on, everybody stop. But look where our clock is now. So now we're at 50. So we have a delay of game in a foul designed to use time, and then we wound the clock back up and take it down to 2 minutes. That is not what we want to do. If a team fouls to illegally use extra time, we do not want that clock running. Because then what's to prevent them from just, they're going to run it down to the 2-minute warning, and then we're going to go on the snap, and the next play they're going to do another delay of game, and they're going to get 50 seconds off, and then we're going to wind it again before you know it, the game's over, and the other team doesn't have a chance. So think of delay of games as illegally exhausting the clock, and make those hard stops.
Is there a certain time in the last, let's say, 4 minutes?
Let's just make it easy on yourself. If there's a delay of game, they've illegally used more time than they should have. So just take it on the snap. Yeah, this is another one of Moanaloa's intentional encroachments. So it's good that we discussed that already. So the flag is pulled at the 38, which is a yard or two short of the line to gain. Wanaloa wants to put them in a first and 16 or 17 versus giving them the option or the opportunity to make it a first and shorter. So they're going to intentionally come over the line, create a foul. Make sure we do give the coach the option on that. And if they do decide to accept it, have somebody move that ball so the referee can make the announcement and move on.
So that foul was a live ball foul.
No, it was a dead ball foul. It was after the play, and then they were setting up a yard shy of the line to gain, which was this line, and then Moanaloa intentionally came over so that they could put them in a first and 16 versus giving them the opportunity on the next play, maybe to put it out here where they would have first and 10. So that's their strategy anytime they get close to a line to gain on first or second down. There we go, 19. So we've got white on defense, blue on offense. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a motion player that takes the snap. And you can see that in tick marks, we're at this tick mark. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the nose of the ball on this line, the snap can't be received anywhere in advance of this point. So this is really going to have to be our wing officials. I know it's tight, but there is an advantage to receiving a ball on the run and being able to motor about. And the rule is 4 yards. So in this case, this is actually about a football and a half shy of that. If we started with the nose on this line, 1, 2, 3, 4, the receipt has to be on this side. I know that's a technicality, but this is a trick play, and if trick plays are run, they have to be run perfectly. You let the play run out. It's just a 5-yard previous spot foul. Oh, by the way, these uniforms, we have a requirement that shirts have to be tucked in. So we're not going to knot them up, and we're not going to use the mid-drift style in our tournament.
In this situation, shall we wait until the rudder throws the ball, or is the
It's a
legal
live ball
approach-
foul. It's enforced after the play. It's not a foul at the snap. It's a foul after the snap. All right, so this one, one of the few times, according to television, that we had a 7-second violation. And in actuality, we did not have a 7-second violation. We had a 6-second violation that was announced as a 7-second violation. So I want you guys to be very careful about that 7-second thing. You need to say 8-1000 before it becomes a foul, because this is not scientific. You're not looking at a stopwatch. It's all arm movement on the field, and you're counting it out in your head. So in order for it to be a foul, say 8-1000 before you make that a foul. This one, I put this on the clock. This was actually 6 seconds. From the time she released the ball. She released the ball at 6 seconds. A little bit of a pump there, but the release is at 6. Right there. And, you know, we snapped at 41, right? 41 to 35 is 6 seconds. And even if it got to 7, we need to say 8 out loud before we call that. And the same thing with the 7-second. We got to be very careful with quarterback sacks, especially when the arm is in motion, because these are real optical illusions. If there's any doubt whatsoever, the ball's out, because that arm motion is about 1/10 of a second in length from start to finish. And that's not a lot of time to be able to process, especially since we can barely see that much information that quickly. So in this case, also, we're on 4th down. We're in the second quarter. We're under 2 minutes. So we know for a fact, it doesn't matter what happens on this play. When it's ruled dead, the clock's going to stop, right? All right. So it's ruled a sack, and you can see that the clock is still running. So everybody on the field needs to get involved with the clock. But I understand that there was some confusion on this because not everybody knew why the play was stopped. Well, the play was stopped because it was ruled a sack. But when you look at these things, they're so hard in real speed that you just have to, unless you're 100% sure, you have to give the benefit of a doubt to the thrower. Hands on the flag, flag popped, ball's out. It's just so quick that you got to give the benefit of the doubt to the passer. This is another one, just another example. Now, this was snapped at the 1 and ruled a sack at the 8. She doesn't like it. I agree with her. I don't like it either. And we just need to reprogram ourselves that it's not going to be that quick. You can see a little bit of a drag here. Arms already in motion. Ball's out. Hands are still high. Very, very difficult. Just give the benefit of the doubt to the thrower, right? I don't see a pop yet. The ball in 1/30th of a second will be out of her hands. It's out of her hands. So just recalibrate that one a little bit. This is a roughing the passer call. Excellent call. A little bit of a bump there. I only bring this in because this is not a decline. If it's a catch or a catch and run, unless there's a change of possession, this gets tacked on. So if the player was down here, we just go 10 yards. That's exactly what they did. Excellent job on the call and also on the enforcement. Here's another roughing the passer. Arm hit, ruled incomplete. Excellent call. Excellent call for roughing the passer. .25, this is a point after touchdown. Just a reminder that change of possessions on point after touchdowns are live. So the fact that this was caught by the defense here, this is live until the flag's pulled. So get that whistle out of your mouth. Let that play run out, because this is not like, the football we're used to on Friday nights during the tackle season. These change of possession PATs are live. This is another PAT. We got a score here that leads to the PAT coming up. And then we have an encroachment on the defense, give the signal, and he does point to the defense, so that's great. This is just a reminder that they have a 2-point option from the 5. If you have an accepted penalty on a PAT, the try option changes, or can change. So it's either, in this case, 2 from the 5 or 1 from the 1.5, and we need to make sure that the coach is given that option. And PAT, they're allowed to pick their spot. So if you have a penalty, then you can move your spot again, left, right, or middle. All right, let's talk about equipment a little bit. This is very successful quarterback. She's holding her mouthpiece here. That's the one she uses in the game. The one that's stuck in her padded helmet is not worn properly. That's just an adornment. She's got to get that out of her helmet. It's not like those Croc shoes where you can put anything in the holes you want. You gotta keep the helmet as it is manufactured and designed to be worn. .28, We haven't seen much of this, but I'm not going to have to say anything. As soon as you guys see it, you're going to know. No can. No can on the hoodies, right? It's not a good look. It doesn't serve a safety purpose, and it obscures the number. This is another good one. Mouthpieces are required, and they are required to be worn properly. This is not worn properly, so we got to get that corrected. And she does this the whole game.
I have a question, Matthew. What about the crosses onto the eyes? I know over in ILH we only have the one line going up under the eyes. Here she have a cross. Is that acceptable?
Well, our rule book says no body paint, and it's very specific to eye shade. So in reality, they're not supposed to have that. I would like you to inform the coaches that they need to, get the body paint off before the game. And that may just be a simple wipe it off. If they get 80% of it off, that's fine. But what I don't want to have happen is I don't want this player to be called out for this with 1 minute and 17 seconds in the fourth quarter when the game's on the line, because it's been there the whole game, and that's when we decide to take care of it. If we don't take care of it up front, then it doesn't get taken care of. But ideally, because there is a no body paint rule, those need to come off. They are allowed to wear a religious symbol as far as jewelry if it's taped down so that it doesn't become a hazard. And the same thing goes for medical alert notices or medals. But all other jewelry, all other body paint should be removed prior to the game. All right. This was illegal contact called on a player that comes out here and runs a route. And eventually what was called was illegal contact on the offense. So this is a foul we don't want. This is situational. And the reason we don't want it is because this is a receiver on a route and she is not seeking out contact. She's just running a route. She may not know what the play is, but there's nothing here that she is doing that's creating an intentional moving screen. And the fact that she is downfield on a route with all these other people means she's eligible to receive a pass from this player right here. So she's entitled to her route. So this contact is not her fault. Now, the defense is really the one who's at fault, but because it's not intentional on the defense either, I would prefer this just be a no harm, no foul because she did let up. This is not what I would consider extremely forceful. But, it's right on the edge. If it goes to anybody, it goes to the defense. Anybody have any thoughts, any questions about that?
Well, I mean, the receiver's looking in the backfield thinking she's going to get the ball. So she definitely doesn't even know where that defender is.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, agreed. So let's leave this one alone. Now, if this defender completely knocks her over, then put it on the defense because the defense is really not allowed to create this contact. The only reason I say let it alone is because really no player had any intent. It was just kind of an accidental bump. But if it puts the player on the ground, hang it on the defense. Just be more aware. This is a change of possession. I want to talk about open field contact. Interception. And the defender's on the run. So the question is, how did this runner get to the ground? All right. So what you can see here is this runner was going this way and is now taking an angle out to avoid this defender. What the defender does, let me see if I can find my line. What the defender does is slides in and extends that leg to create that contact. That is not the way we have open field flagpoles. That's a foul for illegal contact on the defense. She needs to figure out a way to reach for the flag, dive for the flag, but she can't put that leg in front of a runner who's trying to avoid her and create that thigh-to-thigh contact. And we talked about this in an earlier video this year. And I think we've also brought it up another time in a video this year. So this is a technique that if they can't pull the flag, they put the runner on the ground and the play is over. But this is illegal contact on the defense.
So Matt, so how much distance would the B need to give A for that to be a clean play if they were in front of them?
Well, you gotta be holding your ground 2 yards. But if the runner then runs into you, then it's the runner's problem. But you can't, if a runner's trying to avoid you as a defender, and I mean directionally avoid, and then you forcefully put yourself into that path to take them down with a leg trip, then that's going to be on you.
I looked at that play more of like a 60-40 type thing. She was centering herself for that flag grab. Defender didn't get around, but I can see that she was within probably a yard distance when she actually made that last slide in front of in front of A.
Well, this isn't a slide. Let's just look at this for what it is right here. This isn't a slide move. This is the runner trying to avoid and her running into her path. You can't do this to trip the runner. All right, 32, and we're almost done. This is just a good example of this. Oh, by the way, uniform-wise, if you don't have contrasting flags this week, you're not playing. So this is white flag on a white short. They're not allowed to play that way. This is a white flag on a white short. Not allowed to play that way. So this is all legal spinning. So she takes off on her run, does a great job of moving her hips around and rolling and spinning, and she's not flag guarding. Does everything she can to avoid the defenders, and she's not doing anything illegal other than wearing white flags. This, however, is charging or illegal contact on the offense. She does that same move to escape, but when she gets into a spin, changes direction, starts bowling over people. Now, this is where we do talk about players that are stationary or nearly stationary. And I'm talking about the defense now. Now, when she goes into the spin, this is a great move. She's still got vision here. But when she spins, she's changing direction, and this player is here, and she gets bowled over. This right here now is a foul against the quarterback. And there's an argument that so is the second contact. She's seeking out that contact, whether it's intentional or not. She is. She's spinning into it, and there's a big celebration. So this is fine. When she gets into this spin right here, she's losing control of where she's going, and these girls are breaking down. And that's just a plow. And that's just a plow. So those are illegal contacts. They're entitled to their position on the field. And I'd like to see that. If she's going to get into spins, she's going to have to do it, where there's open field in front of her instead of this type of action.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
How about the flags?
Which flags?
Contrasting colors. All the
this
coaches
is
know
illegal.
that?
Yeah,
but
we're
I'm
not
saying-
going to allow that this week.
Do all the coaches in schools know that?
They've all been informed last night, or at least the ones that attended the state meeting that I was on, and we said your shirts have to be tucked in, so we're not doing exposed midriffs, and your flags have to be contrasting colors with the shorts. Now, if the shorts have a stripe, let's say it's a blue short with a white stripe down the side, and they have a white flag, that's not illegal under our current rule book. So we're going to let that go because the flag contrasts the short, and the stripe is just an irritating factor we're going to have to deal with.
Got it.
And I gotta say, it's 8:15, and you guys have put up with me for an hour and 15 minutes, and I gotta give you a lot of credit for that. All righty. Well, guys, gals, gonna love having you here. We're gonna try to get your shirts distributed like they need to be. Thank you for putting up with not just this, but I know for the last 2 months you guys have been putting up with this. So thank you so much for your participation, and the real heroes that have helped me out, other than Van, obviously, is Bryson and Jerry and Sienna, as they were involved in our planning real early and trying to get this thing off the ground, and they represented themselves and their experience very well and helped me considerably to get to this point. So we got 1 week left, and let's go knock it out of the park.